Hi, everyone. I am Stephanie Priest. I am the owner and CEO of Ignite Fitness and Kickboxing, as well as the Ignite Method. We have helped over thousands of people to get to their fitness goals, as well as their wellness goals. We really like to focus on sustainability and lifestyle because we believe that that is truly how you're able to do this for the rest of your lives. And let's be honest, we want to make certain that we're able to do this for the rest of our lives. We want to make certain that we're healthy and that we're happy, and that wellness is a very big piece of who it is that we are. So today in this series, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue talking about hormones and how it is that our bodies are impacted by hormones. So this is part 3. And we've already done part 1 and 2, obviously, if this is part 3. We talked a lot about sugar already, and we've also talked a lot about sleep. So this is what I'll say. If you have not heard part 1 and 2, then go ahead and jump back and take a look at those 2 pieces because they're absolutely instrumental, and these continue to build on each other in this particular series. So there are a couple of things that I want to talk about today, but the most important one is I want to talk about fitness and how fitness actually impacts hormones. Workouts can, quite frankly, work against having balanced hormones, right? Everyone sees working out as this amazing, healthy thing, and it absolutely is. But there's this thing called dun, 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 overtraining, right? And I'm going to be really raw and really honest with you guys today, something that I'm never ashamed or afraid to do because I think that it's in all of our best interests for me to be your truth teller. So today I'm going to be brutally honest about how it is that overtraining can lead to a negative impact on your body and on your hormones. So a lot of times what we see is we see people on Instagram and we see people on Facebook and we see people crushing their lives, right? Like completely crushing. But what they're doing is they're doing like these 2-a-days or 3-a-days, and they're absolutely going to look at long-term negative impacts to their bodies. It's detrimental to your body to overtrain. It's detrimental to your body not to have an active recovery day, an active rest day. Those are really, really important to have in your world. So my question to you is, number 1, are you overtraining? Well, gosh, Steph, I don't know if I'm overtraining or not. What's the definition of overtraining? That's a really great question. So of course, anyone who's doing 2-a-days multiple times a week, right? You'll notice that at Ignite, we do not allow for you to do more than 1 HIIT session a day. In fact, we prefer that you do anywhere from 3 to 4 HIIT sessions a week. We would call our kickboxing sessions HIIT sessions because of the high intensity interval training that we do in those. So we would consider 3 to 4 times a week of training in HIIT work is going to be absolutely perfect. Right? So if you are doing more than that, if you are working out 6 days a week, if you are working out 7 days a week, if you are doing 2-a-days, that is a problem, right? It is a long-term problem on your body. Excessive amounts of cardio is not great for your body. You must have that active rest day, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that you do nothing on your rest day, right? Like a rest day doesn't mean you like loll out and do absolutely nothing. You can, I'm cool with that too. Sometimes you just need to decompress and you need to have that space to be able to recover appropriately. But an active rest day could be a light cycle day. An active rest day could be a light hike, a light walk with your family, right? Moving your body anywhere from like a 5 to 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. That can completely be an active recovery / rest day, right? So what happens is when you overtrain, there are some symptoms that you guys will end up with, right? Are you fatigued? Are you sick often? Do you break out a lot? Have you experienced a loss of your cycle? There are other reasons for losing your cycle also, but do you have a loss of cycle? Are you gaining weight in your midsection? Those can all be very specific symptoms of overtraining. So when you look at this, I want you to look at this from like wellness goals. Being healthy is not just going to the gym 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, running 7 days a week, working out 7 days a week, doing 2-a-days 5 days a week, right? That's not necessarily balanced from a wellness perspective. And really what we want you to focus on at the Ignite method, or while you're absorbing the Ignite method, is to ensure that you have balance in your workouts, balance in your nutrition, right? Too much broccoli is just too much broccoli. Don't tell Kristen I said that because she'll freak out because she eats broccoli all day. It's her favorite, and so is Lily's. But too much broccoli is too much broccoli, right? We really want to make certain that you have a beautiful balance in every part of your life, not just in working out, not just in nutrition, not just in your family life, not just in your professional life. We really want balance in every single area. So tell me this. How many of you have experienced those symptoms? Simple raise of hand. I've experienced them. Comment below if you've experienced those symptoms, right? I think we've all been in that space where we work and we work and we work. And this is what I'll tell you. After 20 years of being in fitness in some way or another, I've experienced all of it. Whether it's I go and run a 10K with no training, right? Or a half marathon with inappropriate training, or a 10K, or, a savage race or something along those lines. I've done all of those things. What I recognize is that as I've gotten older, I've learned balance. I understand the importance of training my body. I understand the importance of balance. And we say balance, right? And people are like, nobody wants to hear the word balance. You know me, I very much believe that my work is my hobby, right? So people often say to me, you have no work-life balance. But I do, because work is my hobby. It's what I absolutely love to do. With that being said, I also recognize from a hormone perspective with my body that I absolutely must be balanced. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I have to make certain that I have rest days and recovery days. I have to make certain that I'm not working out too often. I have to make certain that my nutrition is balanced, right? That doesn't mean too crazy on one side, too much in a deficit on the other side. So those are the things that I really want you to think about. Have you experienced those things? And really take a moment to understand, if I've experienced those things, where was I from a mindset perspective? Was I just trying to lose all the weight and do all the things? Right? If you were like overdoing it, then you probably experienced fatigue. You probably got sick. You probably had breakouts. You may have lost your cycle along the way, right? If you are overtraining, those things can all happen. So let's go back to talk about one of the most important hormones that I believe that we have in our body, and that's cortisol. Cortisol, we talked about this in part 1, is a stress hormone, right? When you have good, consistent workouts that are not overtraining, it yields lower stress levels for you, right? And when we have lower stress levels, that means that our body doesn't hold on to fat. But when we go into that overtraining mode, what ends up happening is your cortisol actually goes up because you're training all the time, right? So when you think about it, when your body's on and you're in the gym, right, and you're working out, your cortisol levels actually increase. However, when you leave the gym, those cortisol levels drop to a reasonable, manageable rate. When you go back to the gym again and you work, those cortisol levels come up again. I've told you this before. My job as your coach is to help you take this and turn it into this, right? Much more even ebbs and flows. And when you think about it holistically, that's also what we want to do with our cortisol levels. So when we're overtraining, naturally those cortisol levels get really, really high. And naturally what ends up happening is we gain weight in that belly area. So why do we gain weight in that belly area? So let's talk about the science of it. We talked about how when you overtrain, right, there's an increase in your blood glucose levels. So there's sources of energy, right? We know that. We know that blood glucose is a source of energy. However, when there is too much, what inevitably ends up happening is our body shovels that glucose, it moves it into fat storage, and it puts it into that belly area, right? It also can lead to hypothyroid production or a higher thyroid production, which inevitably ends up being hypothyroidism, right? So you end up having this as a result of overtraining. We see oftentimes people really young end up with hypothyroidism because they end up overtraining. Been there, done that, right? I've done all the wrong things, right? That's kind of why I've learned over time to do the right things. I didn't do it the right way. I didn't do the learning piece first. I just jumped right in. I really want you guys to think about this is the only body that you have. You don't get to change it like you do a car, right? If my car breaks down and I don't like it anymore, I get to change it in. This is the only body that I have. I have to make certain that I make good choices. It took me till I was 40 and holding to remember that, to understand that, to really develop an appreciation and a love for my body. So think about that. Am I overtraining? How do I know that I'm overtraining? Do I feel those symptoms of overtraining? What is it that I'm noticing? Have I noticed I'm actually running 7 days a week and I'm starting to gain a little bit of weight? These are all big indicators of what could actually be going wrong as opposed to actually going right. So this is what I will ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to cross train. If you love high intensity interval training, high five, me too. I love it. It's different every single day. I love boxing. It makes me happy whenever I leave. But I also do things like running stairs. I also do things like Peloton. I also do things like I make certain I have at least 3 days a week where I'm doing strength and conditioning. So make certain that while you have that high intensity interval training of 3 to 4 days a week, that you're really looking at how is it I can build this other training in that also includes low intensity training, going for a really nice long walk, doing a Peloton ride that's actually an enjoyable ride and one that's not like crazy through the roof, right? Think about adding in strength. You should be adding in strength 3 days a week. Cool. So this is what I mean by that. If you're doing HIIT and you love your HIIT workout 4 days a week, awesome. Keep on rocking. Add in strength and conditioning 2 to 3 days a week on top of that. Okay. That means one day that you may be doing what we would call a 2 a day, but theoretically not, right? Because it's 2 types. You're not doing 2 high intensity interval trainings back to back. I would be totally okay with a strength followed by a high intensity interval training workout. So when you think about it, sit down, look at what your month looks like and build those workouts in so that way you're balanced. So that way your cortisol levels are not through the roof. So that way you're not experiencing lack of cycle. So that way you're not experiencing fatigue. So that way you're not breaking out. You don't have to quit training. I mean, come on, this is what I do. This is what I love. I would never encourage you to quit training, but consider the other things that you can do. And also, if there was one thing that I can drive home today, make certain that you have an active recovery day. Your body cannot survive long-term without active recovery days. And some days those active recovery days actually need to be like blah days. Take care of your body. Self-care is really important. Throw a massage in there here and there to take care of yourself. Also be really strategic whenever you're planning those workouts, right? Sit down, look at the month, be very strategic in what it is that you're executing. Also, we're about to launch a 21-day plan. So if you haven't followed us on Instagram, if you haven't followed us on Facebook at our Fit Free and Fabulous group, then you have to do so. Okay. Make certain that you press that subscribe button, make certain that you slam that like button, and please let us know by the comments below if you love the content that we're pushing out, so that way we can keep doing it and keep giving you all the amazing information that we have. Thank you so much for all it is that you do. Keep healthy. Bye, guys.